Donna Christian Lowe with Brewer Media, known as the Queen Connector. I'm here today with one of my friends, and if you have been living under a rock, I'm going to help you out today because the Joe Hunter, known as Uncle Joe, is here today representing the city of Chattanooga and representing them big. Give me some knuckles there.
What's up with you?
I'm good. I'm so glad to have you. I'm all smiles.
It's a pleasure to finally sit with you physically.
Well, I appreciate that.
I've watched you over some years, and
Thank
I'm like,
you.
yeah, she cool.
Yeah.
You know, I don't watch people I don't like.
I know this about you. I know that you got some history. So we're going to jump right in. It's something I'm very passionate about. I have a 17-year-old. I've been very involved in the city for several mayors like you. But we're going to talk about the Chattanooga Community Centers, but more specifically, something I got to tell you the Queen Connector didn't even know about, the Team Empowerment Centers. There's 4 of them. Before I let you in, though, I got to give you a little credit. I know you're not about that, but this was your brainchild. And
yes.
What a blessing to be able to work for a city that says, you know what, and county, that we need this. So first of all, I want to know why you had this idea, and then we'll jump into what they are doing at the centers.
Thank you. First of all,
why the vision?
The vision comes from me as a child growing up with a mother and a father and 4 brothers and 2 sisters, and still becoming a gang member, still being involved in that life. My brothers and sisters were involved in it, so I know the influence that comes through siblings. Also, I'm the only one out of 7 kids that never stepped in a prison.
Wow.
2 of my brothers went to jail for me when I did a robbery I shouldn't have did when I was 16. My payment for that was to be the doorman at one of my sister's dope houses for 3 years, okay? So I've been through the life, I've lived the life. I've even coordinated some guys together and made them my little syndicate. So, you know, the streets have given me the status of OG, which is original gangster. I changed it to MOG, man of God.
Oh, but now you've using those same tactics and methods for good.
Now, let me just, you know, I said MOG. God flips the script on us, okay?
Yes.
And so because he kept me and saved me, I got 5 AK-47 bullets in my body, and God kept me alive, heart surgery, all types of guns pointed at me and didn't happen, and I've never, you know, shot anybody, and I didn't want anybody to know that life. I ended up traveling with Ray Charles as his road manager and living the high life and the suits and tuxedos and briefcases, and I didn't want nobody to know that other guy. And when I got to Memphis and retired, my wife, and we're living on the lake, and it's all cool, God called me to the ministry. And I said, okay, I don't want to be no preacher, but I'll be a preacher. And then...
But it's marketplace ministry.
It was a different kind of preacher, okay? I went back to school, and I sat in the pulpit for a minute, but I was also a drummer, so I played drums at the church, and I was a sound engineer at the church. I was a youth minister at the church. And God said, I want you to go to this school and volunteer. And I said, okay. Well, it happens to be the worst school in Memphis, Tennessee. It was Fraser High School, which is my guys now, okay? But sorry, I hit the mic.
That's okay.
And so I went there, and I went in the lunchroom, which was very big, and I see all of these kids, and they're bigger than me. I mean, you know, you're a 17-year-old, okay? And so I'm like, whoa, do I need a bat, a gun, or some more people? And I said, no, go and start meeting them. And I'm hearing talk, cussing, and smelling marijuana, and I'm like, ooh, I'm in it. This is it. And I began to shake their hands and introduce myself. And I have a thing that I do with young men especially is look at a man when you touch his hand. Because they weren't taught that, okay? And because of the lack of their own identity, they do not gaze into another man's eyes. Well, when I grew up, my father taught me that he couldn't look in a white man's eyes. So he taught his 5 sons, make sure you look in a man's eyes. I don't care what color he is. So that's in me, okay?
So you go to Memphis, you meet these guys that you're not sure if you need guns or what, but you end up talking and you end up handshaking. So fast forward, you're living a dream that a lot of people don't get to live within the confines of the government. But props to my friend, Tim Kelly, Mayor Tim Kelly, and Mayor Coppinger, because they've come together to allow you and really allow many people, not just you, live their dream. And there's nothing better than living your passion. I talk about it all the time. But let's kind of pivot into these centers, because I pride myself on being the Queen Connector. And you came in and you kind of educated a few of us here at Brewer Media about the Teen Empowerment Centers, because Mayor Kelly has an initiative. And again, shout out to him. He's well past his first year, but he wanted the community centers to be more than just a center. Well, he's doing it big, but now we have 4 centers with the Team Empowerment Centers. And going back to the handshakes in the cafeteria, you're handshaking in all these 4 facilities, but recently we've had I'm going to say an outbreak of crime.
Yes.
And I'm like you, I just call it like it is crime, but you don't call them gang members and gang whatever. What do you call it?
Well, I call them part of my family.
Part of your family.
What these young men and young ladies remind me of is me. Okay? The absence is, or the lack that they have that I didn't have, I had a father and a mother, and when you look at my family, we are a gang. So I couldn't join a gang.
Yeah.
So the gang that I'm talking about, my brothers and I, chain gang, that's us, okay? So what these young people are growing up with is the lack of that security.
Well, you can't be what you can't see.
That's right. So when Uncle Joe shows up, when I showed up here.
I like that. Uncle Joe shows up.
Yeah, he does. My wife says that too, yeah. And when I show up, I go in, and Uncle Joe is a term of endearment, okay? I really know what an uncle is. I remember when my first nephew was born years ago, and I became an uncle. I was a teenager.
Big deal.
But that was a huge deal, okay? Yeah. Then I would think about all of my uncles. They gave me quarters, or they also hit me on the head and gave me knowledge. And so I'm like, okay, I go in, a little girl.
Father figure-ish.
Yes. A little girl in Detroit started calling me Uncle Joe, and I didn't even think it meant anything. These kids in Memphis calling me Uncle Joe was a totally new thing.
Well, in Chattanooga,
the kids in Chattanooga called me Uncle Joe.
When they told me Uncle Joe was here and I needed to interview him,
it's real.
I knew.
Yeah.
So I say, like, I'm blessed and honored to know you and know your work. You're kind of a living legend, and I mean that with all seriousness.
I've heard that.
Let's go into these 4 facilities, because
right now,
tell us, because right now someone's going to be watching this conversation or listening, and it's a mother, it's a grandmother. We know how many grandparents are raising their kids.
Right.
We know how many aunts, and everyone is raising someone's kids.
True.
And in my house growing up, if you rent our house, you went by our rules.
Okay.
So let's talk about, to that person, what can they get within these facilities?
What they can get
these
from
community centers.
Teen Empowerment Centers are designed for enrichment for teenagers, ages 13 to 19.
13 to 19.
Even up to 24.
Critical.
Okay?
Hold up,
yes,
really?
The federal government guidelines for youth funding and programming stops at 24 because of the development of the mind.
The reason I say that's great, again, you're informing me, I'm excited about this. If your child can be on your insurance or on your college till they're 26, then why can't they be in the enrichment program? Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, or have the need for it, okay?
Yes.
So insurance company won't get insurance, okay, 25, all right? So it made sense, and I've been working with them for years. So at these centers, at Eastdale, which is on Moss Street, at Carver, which is on Orchard Knob, at West Side, which is on Poplar in the West Side housing projects, and at East Chat, which is on Dotson.
High crime areas.
All of them. I selected all of these buildings when I first arrived here because I came here to do strategic work, strategic intervention and prevention for gangs and for youth. Now, I want to clarify something, that I don't just work with gang members. I also want to make it clear that most of the children I work with, most are not involved in gang activity and do not want to be. That's why they're with Uncle Joe.
That's for prevention. That's proactive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even the gang leaders know if they're with Uncle Joe, leave them alone because Uncle Joe coming. Okay? That's OG. That's OG.
I need an OG Uncle Joe in my life.
We're going to take care of these kids.
That's good
so
stuff.
At the center, what they do, they arrive at 5:30. Their music is on. I use a hip hop station from Memphis, the #1 across the.
We got to put Power 94 in there.
Well, give it to me. Okay, so I put that on. The music is on. They come in. Now, if they come in smelling like marijuana, I don't put them out. I bring him over here. I talk to him, okay? I'm trying to help him with that. If I put him out, I just defeated my purpose. If he's sagging, I don't put him out. Please come in. I might have a belt to give you, son. Okay, we will have belts at the centers. That's a ministry that I do. I give you a belt. Because how can I say just keep pulling your pants up and I didn't give you the tool or teach you? I wear a belt because I watched my daddy put his on. He didn't have a daddy to watch, okay? So again, if you see it, you can
can't be what you can't
okay,
see.
Exactly. So at the center, they come in, they sign in, the music's going. We have Xbox and PlayStation already set up and running. We have air hockey. We have pool table. We have Uno games on the cards on the table. We have Connect 4 on the table. You come in, sign in, and be a teenager. Okay? There are rules, but they ain't posted, and ain't nobody over your head. Be a teenager. Yes, you can scream. Yes, you can get loud. Yes, Uncle Joe don't mind, all right? Then I have dinner for you because I asked you to be with me at 6 o'clock, right?
Right.
So I'm teaching etiquette. So you need to have dinner, and we're going to have it together.
Wow.
So we'll have pizza, or we'll have spaghetti, or we'll have chicken. I order from different places. I have thank God, I have a city credit card that I can go and get my vendors, my food. It just works, okay? So I have my hand sanitizer there, my plates, my napkins, my gloves, everything. They're watching all of this, and then some of them at times I'll select one or two to help, okay? I don't get them involved in so much of helping because this is theirs. Go have fun.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use you as a worker. I'm going to work, okay? I don't like when people use kids for workers but won't spend time with them at pizza parties, okay? You just want them to clean up your basement. No, we're not doing that, okay? Also, after I do their sit down and eat, then I take 15 minutes of a talk from Uncle Joe on the word of the month. The words this month, we got two words, morals and principles. Morals is doing the right thing. Principles is the guiding power that gets you to do the right thing all the time. Okay?
When nobody's looking.
Hello, okay?
Yes.
And Uncle Joe has to depict to them the right thing. So there's been times when, Uncle Joe had a stressful day, somebody came in and said something, and I went off, and I'm like, I go back the next day, I said, guys, I didn't handle that right. But Uncle Joe, they was wrong. I was wrong too. Okay?
Accountability.
And so when you put that accountability in front of them and they're like, wow, Uncle Joe did well, okay. Because I'm going to hold you accountable too.
So first of all, there's so many things I could say. Research says you sit down at the dinner table with people that are in those roles of parents, parent-ish, whatever it is.
Correct.
You're less likely to do drugs, less likely
Correct.
to get pregnant. All those things we know.
Yep.
So, I could affirm a lot of this, but I want to say again, kudos, because this is a mentoring program. Right now, we don't have enough mentors in our world.
Correct.
But again, you can't be what you can't see. And when you haven't sat down, when you haven't had direction, when you haven't had someone give you a belt, those are things that, you know what, I got to say, I'm glad that our dollars are paying for these things. When you think about where's your money going for the city of Chattanooga, I'm grateful. So let's kind of go back to making sure people know how to get in touch with you, because I know someone's going to be watching, their kid isn't in that area. Maybe they're in the Harrison area, maybe the Red Bank. Can they come?
Exactly. So
how does it work?
What we're doing right now for this summer, we're just doing my 4 centers, Eastdale, East Chat, West Side, and Carver in the inner cities right now. There's a real urgency to do this because of the violence that happens. I deal with violence, okay? I deal with it every day. I sleep with it. It's not pretty, okay? However, we cannot just let the violence rule. We have to come higher than that and be stronger than that and allow goodness and enrichment to overcome that, okay?
So for now, if someone, just taking my son, he would not be eligible because he's in Harrison, right?
He's eligible if he wants to come.
Okay.
What I don't want to do with the inner city is cross territories.
Absolutely.
Okay?
So who can
But if you brought your son to one of my centers to be there with us, he's perfectly fine. Okay?
So in a perfect world of what you're trying to do and the scope of work that you're trying to do it, who are eligible to come? 13 to 19.
13 to 19.
And up to 24?
And up to 24. Okay. And I would say That community center for that community.
Let's say that again.
Okay? That community center for that community.
And
Okay?
if I can add this, that makes sense to me because you're trying to contain
This
the violence and
community.
things while not just dealing with the violence, but dealing with the proactive approach to help those have
Absolutely.
something to do. So we kind of got that now. So now how does someone get involved? So when they see this, everybody's going to want to be a part of Uncle Joe's program. I'm going to have to put that first, then the city of Chattanooga. How do they get involved in these great programs? How do they get involved and who do they call?
Two things they can do. So I'll give out the number first, which
Okay.
is a direct number to me. I have two phones,
Okay.
and they're youth helplines to kids in Memphis and Chattanooga. One's a Memphis phone, one's I answer them 24 hours a day. They're really for kids,
Love
but parents can call also because they need help. The number is 423-356. 6325.
One more time on that one.
423
You already know.
356-6325. So that's my Chattanooga number, 24 hours a day. You can call that if you want to volunteer, if you want to donate to the, some chips or something.
That was my next question.
To the thing.
Yeah.
We are working on trying to make this a nonprofit so we can get more resources than even the city can provide. I mean, there's huge amounts of money out there for teen programming, but nobody's getting it because nobody's doing the programming, okay? And so we have real evidence-based. I'm 30 years in, okay? I have manuals that I've helped written for cities, but they were never funded.
So what was the other number?
The other number is 901-628-2262.
Okay.
That's 901-628-2262.
Help has no boundaries.
None.
When you're truly trying to pour into people's lives, and we have several people here at Brewer Media who do that outside. It's a passion for helping those because we realize what the investment is, and we're seeing right now with a lack of investment what can happen.
Right.
So I always like to say to my friend, anything else that we're missing, because we're going to be sharing this on across the stations. We're going to be helping you on your mission and helping the city of Chattanooga.
Yes.
And I do want to say on the behalf of Brewer Media, we are so thankful for the partnership with the city of Chattanooga.
Yes, thank you.
We're thankful for what Mayor Kelly and his team is doing. I'm also thankful personally that the mayor is allowing people like Uncle Joe to truly live their best life and to do it where it impacts others.
Yeah.
But anything else you want to say before we close out this conversation?
Two things.
Sure.
One, first of all, I want Chattanooga to know, and I want you to personally know, you don't have a big problem, okay?
Say that again.
You do not have a big problem, okay? If you had one, I'd tell you, and you'd see me with 4 guys everywhere I go. You don't.
Okay.
One of the reasons I left Memphis, because I didn't want my wife getting carjacked at Kroger's. I'm not worried about her getting carjacked here at Food City. It's not happening, okay? There is so much that's not, see, I do the what's happening and what's not. There's so much that's not happening here that we need to build on that and make this the model for the country. Everybody's looking for the model. We have it.
Say that again.
Let's make
We
it
got the
happen
model.
right here.
I agree with
okay?
that. I agree.
And let's make it happen.
Okay.
All right? And it's already in the motion. I'm serious. If they got me here for 5 years and still want to support me and give me more, it ain't me, but it's the juice in me, okay? And it's working.
Yeah.
We have right now, kids that would tell you, if I hadn't have done that with Uncle Joe, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
And they are serious, okay? The last young man that died in here, little Daryl, was one of mine. He was with us since he was
Sorry to hear
12. When COVID came, we separated, right? These kids, some of them, the gang recruiters don't have to recruit them. The kids want to be because there's nothing else to be. So until we put something there to be, then he's going to go over there, okay? Also, the competition, the drug dealer got 2 PlayStation 5. I got to have 3, okay? That's what we in.
That's it. Strategy.
We can't play games and say, oh, well, he goes to church and he's in the choir. I went to church. I was in the choir. I sold dope to the band.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I didn't play basketball, but I sat over there on the bench and sold weed. Okay? So we
Parents
got to
are
get
listening
real.
to this. This is
okay?
real. So what's your final point? Man, the parents are going to love this too because this is an eye-opener. It's an eye-opener. Parents are sitting back saying, not my kid.
Yeah, right.
Don't say that. What's your final point?
Final point is pray for me and our kids. Come out to the centers and see what you can do to help. You'd be surprised. Volunteers sometimes don't understand what Uncle Joe needs, because all Uncle Joe needs is for you to be available. Just sit there.
Time is the most precious thing you can give to a human.
Available. That's the best thing that we can be to these kids.
So let me kind of end on this. So someone out there like myself today, I'm inspired. You've engaged, you've empowered me, and you've inspired me.
And you've done that to me watching you.
Thank you.
I'm telling you.
That really is humbling, because you're a man of great legacy while he's living, and I appreciate that. So someone out there that was watching, and like me now, I want to do something. A couple of things. I know people need to communicate before they just show up. Always communicate that. Don't come to my house without just showing up.
I like that. Say that again.
Communicate before you just show up at one of these centers, right? So if we want to do that, so for me, I want my team to get involved. I want to get involved. So I'm going to message you, communicate, find out when I can come. Number one. Number two, if they want to give some donations, I know somebody's going to do that, from money to food to whatever. How do they do that?
Contact me.
Okay, we're going to do that.
Also, we have a Chattanooga Teen Empowerment Facebook page.
Say that again.
Chattanooga Teen Empowerment Facebook page.
So they can message directly there.
And I'm the administrator. So you get directly to me by phones, the internet. I'm Joe Hunter on Facebook. I'm Uncle Joe Memphis on Instagram. I'm on Snapchat. I'm wherever they are.
So here's what I'm going to close with. I've said this. You have to be relevant.
That's right.
You know, all these great artists, they stay relevant. Uncle Joe has remained relevant. That's why you can relate to these children, these teens. And I say to you, thank you for what you do. I know you hear that. You have to. But I've got to say, from myself and from Brewer Media, thank you for what you do, and thank you for making a difference.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for me. I am Donna Christian Lowe with the Brewer Media Group, and it is Uncle Joe Hunter with the City of Chattanooga. Make sure you reach out to him, and we're out.